So let us start by first introducing ourselves to the Colab environment. You'll notice I am on Google's um, site. I'm at www.google.com. And you know I'm signed in, and that is because over here you can see I have my Google account, and this is my avatar on the Google account. Now, to go to Google Colab, what you're going to type in the browser URL is colab.research.google.com. colab.research.google.com. And hit enter. And the first thing you will find is you will find yourself at this screen right here. Now, you might see nothing right here. What I want you to notice is that there are a few tabs up here. One's called Examples, Recent, Google Drive, GitHub, and Upload. Examples contains example Google Colab notebooks, right? So this is notebooks of Python code that are like samples for us to work with. Recent is going to contain the work that you've just recently done. And so you can see I have a bunch of notebooks under recent over here. Then, because this is a Google product, you can connect to Google Drive and connect to notebooks that you might have in your Google Drive. You can also connect to a GitHub URL, and you can access notebooks at a GitHub URL, or you can create your own Python notebooks and upload those Python notebooks. What we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new notebook, right? So let's go ahead and click on New Notebook. So when we create a new notebook, this is the environment that you're going to see. The first thing you're going to notice is that you're going to have a notebook called Untitled, Untitled 1, Untitled 2, whatever you may have, and IPYNB. This is a Python notebook. And so the first thing we might actually want to do is rename this. Let's call this, let's write, this is my first notebook. So I have just changed the name of my notebook. And before I do anything, let's say I want to save my notebook. I don't even want to write anything in my notebook. I want to save it. And so first thing I can do is click on File, and I can save my notebook in different locations. I can save a copy in Drive or Google Drive. Wait, I think I lost the name over there. Let me change that once again. My first notebook. So if I can save a copy in Google Drive, I can save it in GitHub. I should probably just hit save. Yep, and it's going to be saved in Google Drive. If you don't know what Google Drive is, you can write drive.google.com, and basically Google allows you to store some files on their Google Cloud, up to 15 GB. I have a lot of data already up there, and you should see a directory called Colab Notebooks. And over here, I have a couple of notebooks, a copy of my first notebook and my first notebook. So you can actually find your Google notebook, your Colab notebooks in Google Drive, right? And so you can find that in Google Drive under Colab notebooks. And so this is my first notebook. Now the first thing you'll notice is there are two icons right here, plus code, plus text. And so what that allows you to do is insert a code cell or insert a text cell. Now notice you already have one cell present. This one cell, if it has a play icon next to it, is in fact a code cell. And so we already have a code cell running. Now before we write any code, let's go ahead and create a a cell, right? Let's say we have no cells, right? And so I'm just going to click on this garbage icon over here and delete the cell that I already had, right? So I have no cells in my environment right now. And so I'm going to hit on plus text. And so now I have created a text cell in my notebook, and I can write some text over here. This is my first Python notebook. In this notebook, I will be some Python code as part of the introduction to Python module. Now, if I want to, I can use some of the features associated with text, as in highlighting text or markdown, as part of this. For instance, if I wanted to give this a header, I could say this is introduction. And if I click on this toggle heading, what that does is it inserts a hash mark. Now, on the right-hand side, you see a preview of what that would actually look like, right? And so if I create a second hash mark, you will see that the heading size gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So the more number of hashes you have before a piece of text, you have a smaller and smaller heading. So I have a first level heading right now, and then I say this is my first Python notebook, and that I'm writing some Python code as part of the introduction to Python module, right? And so these icons over here allow you to bold text, it allows you to italicize, you can insert links, you can insert images, indent, number lists, so on and so forth. So you have a variety of different text options or text formatting options right here. To get more familiar with some of these options, I would encourage you all to experiment with them. For instance, let's say I wanted to create a list of things that is going to be covered in this notebook, in my first notebook. I would say, list item. So you can see it's already thrown 1.2. So example, right? And so that, again, you can see on the preview what's going on and how it's actually going to look, right? And so I can hit File and Save, and I'm going to save my notebook in Google Drive, right? Now, when I'm hovering over this cell, and let's say I go to the slightly lower part of the cell, please take a look at my cursor, you will notice that I have two options. Now, I can add after this text cell, I can add another text cell, or I can add a code cell. So let's say I decide I don't want another text cell because I can put my text in here. I want to add a code cell because I said I'm going to have two things that I'm going to have in this notebook: a hello world example and a variable example. So let's say I want to do the hello world example. And so this is the portion that I can now write Python code. Now, every person that hasn't written a line of code has an obligatory point of passage. And that obligatory point of passage is the hello world application that everyone writes. And so here is what the hello world example is. Print in parentheses, and then within quotes, hello world. And that's it. Now, if you hit the play button right here, you will see that we have executed a first line of Python code and get a result out from the Python interpreter saying hello world. And so we have written our first line of Python code, printing out hello world. If I wanted to add more lines, I can say again, I can hit the play icon. And so the two print statements that we have typed out show up. Now, if I just did print by itself, and then what you notice is if you throw in print by itself, it allows you to insert a blank line, and then I can print a set of text after the blank line. And so again, these are just examples of ways to use a print statement to get something to display on screen. Again, I come down here and I see my two options. I can have either another code cell after this, or I can have a text cell after this. So let me insert a text cell. In this text cell, I'm going to talk about a topic known as variables. Now, because this is not the introduction and this is a smaller topic, I'm going to make this a third level header or heading. And I'm going to talk to you all about something known as variables. Now, variables are interesting because they are ways that we can manage data within a Python application or a Python script. Variables tend to have names. These names are unique within the application or program, and these names are used to assign or modify the value of the variables. Again, I've saved this by I can save this notebook several ways. I can hit File, Save, or I can go Command S or Control S depending on your operating system. So just to give you an example of a variable, let's say I have a variable called my name. Now, please note, I'm using a certain type of casing. I'm using camel casing for variable names, and I'm going to be using camel casing for all variable names. And because my name is text data, I've got to use text data in codes. Anthony Gonzalez. And so I can print the value of my name. And let's see, when I print my name, what gets printed out. And there we go. Print my name allows me to print Anthony Gonzalez out. In fact, if I wanted to print out my name is Anthony Gonzalez, here's how I might do that. And then a comma, my name. So the variable, my name, holds the value Anthony Gonzalez, and it's going to print my name is, comma, and whatever the data that is present in the my name variable. And you will see it prints out my name is Anthony Gonzalez with a full stop at the end of it. And so we have now gotten a very simple introduction to Google Colab notebooks. Google Colab notebooks consist of code and text cells, and we can use these code and text cells to write basically Python code, and also write markdown or text associated with that code. Over time, we will see other facets or other aspects of these Google Colab notebooks. Couple of things to keep in mind. If you ever want to delete a cell, hover over the cell. Please notice that there is a delete or trash icon right here. It allows you to delete a cell. You can also open the editor settings and modify the editor settings. You can also write comments in Google in Python code by using the hash icon. And so this is a very brief introduction to Google Colab Notebooks.